But the thing about AI is I use AI quite a lot in reconstruction of models. And, if I'm trying to get rid of a bike on a wall, then I will use generative fill in Photoshop to get rid of that. The issue is, am I compromising the ethics of the model? Would I do it in a crime scene? No. Would I do it in heritage documentation? Probably not. Or if I did, I'd mark that area with a mask to say this area has been regenerated by AI. The problem is that AI is removing trust in all sorts of things. And in fact, I'm just writing a post about exactly this. Reality capture is about capturing reality. It's not about inventing shit. You can use it to make it more usable.
But at the same time, the meshing technique in photogrammetry is destructive process, right? So we are trying to reconstruct the reality, but at the same time we are like damaging it and destroying it.
Yeah, I think it depends on what the application is. If I'm using it for inspection of a bridge, I might use meshing AI to help me navigate around the bridge, but I'm not going to do a report on degradation based on the mesh. I'm only using that to click on the photo that was used to generate that mesh. So I don't mind using AI in those things to make it cleaner and to make it more usable, providing people know it's actually the image that was captured with the drone or the camera that you use, because that's unalterable. The interesting thing is what's happening with images as well now, because you've got camera companies now embedding code into the images, so it's not been tampered with. This is particularly important in if you're doing digital twins of crime scene or collision, because you can't be accused of, we scraped out that blood spatter or things were. In most most court cases in the world, the first thing people want to do is create some doubt on the evidence. Okay, so you have to be able to prove that the images that we used were captured in RAW, this is the code, and they weren't adulterated. If you have that traceability, it's perfectly fine. AI can be used for different things, but its main use at the moment is in object recognition, in tagging things.
That's the shift I wanted to make, because you started to explaining where the AI is in the capturing and processing process, but I was actually asking about the on output side of the capturing, right?
That's a fair point, and I think that's where we are seeing AI come into its own. But you do get these weird things. I'll relate a story. So I work with a great company in Canada called Cone Labs, who have a system for identifying cracks and then seeing how the cracks have grown over a period of time using AI. It's brilliant. And then they're structural engineers, so it's come from a structural engineering knowledge base. Then you've got other techniques. So now Microsoft and a few other companies have got these segmentation techniques to identify a glass or a this or whatever in the photograph. What it does is it allows people to take out the mundanity of the work. And it's interesting because I showed this crack detection system to a bridge inspection company. Okay. And this is one of the biggest bridge inspection companies in the UK. I'm not going to say their name because this is sort of typical of the industry. So I showed them this technology, and all the engineers, 40 engineers in the room, loved it. So we don't have to go on site and look at all the cracks, and we're going to get 360-degree coverage, and we're able to share that data with our colleagues and figure it out, and then see if the cracks changed. And they're all excited. And then the guy in the corner stood up, and he was the business development director. And he said, do you know how much money we make from hiring out scaffolding and lighting to do this inspection? It's 30% of our turnover. Room went quiet. And this is one of the problems you've got with AI. What people don't realize is that all those people, you've got chartered engineers, and all they're doing is looking at photographs, looking at a crack. Wouldn't it be much better for them to say, we've got all this expertise, let's try and design a solution or to do this. We can use this information, but I'm not wasting all this expertise. I can get that out and use it to provide a better solution for the client. We don't do that in the UK as much as we should. We are very Luddite. We are innovation IT. We are the largest innovation prevention department on the planet, I think.
But you agree that business development manager should have been fired?
I would fire him because
Generally, like being able to make it X times easier to collect the data, to assess the data, and to create verified outputs. It actually makes it more feasible. So it's not going to be only like top 10% of the projects. It actually will be 50% of the
No, I
market.
think this sort of sums up the whole problem many people in the world have got with AI. They think it's going to eliminate the jobs. It's not. It's going to create more work, in my view. There are going to be jobs. Yes, it does, but it's going to mean that you don't have specialist radiologists looking at mammograms when they could be doing much more productive work. If they can automate that process, perfectly fine. I think the key is trying to, if I'm using AI to regenerate a model, I need to know, I'm happy to take it, but I need to know which bits were regenerated. So there is a level of confidence or doubt about how accurate that bit is. But that is the problem with AI, is because we don't know how much of it's wrong or right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point about keeping it simple. You can say, things like cracks are pretty unambiguous as to what they are. But how things change, or things that there are things that it doesn't work with just yet, but things are coming on. And I think AI is a fabulous tool. I use it pretty well every day in my image processing, and certainly in helping me sort through big lumps of information. A PDF of data handed over from the BIM department as a handover document. It's a bloody
Mm-hmm.
nightmare. But you can
Mm-hmm.
use AI to look at the things that are important to the facilities manager, because the facilities manager isn't interested in a Revit model. I don't know a janitor in the world who opens a Revit model to find the leak in the pipe. What they need to know is, I'm in the basement, 3 o'clock in the morning. Where is that shut-off valve for that pipe? That's the sort of information they want. They don't need to know it's clash detection and it was tested to this and that, or is the drawing of it. They're not interested. They just need to solve an immediate problem. The
Mm-hmm.
nurse needs to know where's the nearest defibrillator. The fire responder needs to know where's the shut-off valve and which is the quickest way out. And the emergency responder needs to know where is the lock-in room if there's a shooter out there. Where are the people safe? It's that sort of basic information that people want. But we try and over-engineer the IT, because the engineers who build it are engineers and they love solving problems. And sometimes that problem isn't a big problem.